There is a golden moment when the doors of abundance swing wide open and the universe itself whispers your name. This moment is not born of chance or accident. It is the perfect unfolding of divine order. The world may call it coincidence, but those who walk by faith know it as the hand of infinite intelligence moving with precision. Today is not an ordinary day. It is a day when destiny taps gently upon the door of your consciousness, asking you to notice. When the message comes, check your bank account when it ends. It only works once in a lifetime, and today it found you. It is not a warning, but a sacred invitation. The invisible supply, already prepared for you since before time began, stands ready to be revealed. Prosperity does not chase, it awaits the awakened soul who dares to believe. Many look outside themselves for a sign, but the true sign is an inner stirring, a quiet assurance that everything needed has already been provided. We live in a universe governed by perfect law. There is no lack in the infinite. Lack is but a shadow of doubt in the human mind. The moment that doubt is dissolved, the supply rushes in like a mighty river that has been waiting behind the dam of unbelief. This day, this hour, carries with it a rare and radiant vibration, a vibration that aligns your name with divine increase. It does not beg, it does not plead, it simply, and those who recognize it step boldly into the flow of miraculous provision. The statement is not about numbers in a ledger, it is about recognizing your inheritance in the invisible realm. The outer world is but the echo of the inner decree. When faith speaks, doors open. When belief becomes unshakable, the invisible becomes visible. Your bank account is not merely a vault of figures. It is a reflection of your consciousness of supply. When the divine current touches it, limitation dissolves and increase manifests. Today, the universe sends a message wrapped in simplicity yet charged with power. It is a whisper that bypasses logic and reaches the silent chamber of your heart where infinite abundance resides. Many may hear and dismiss it as ordinary, but to the awakened it is a trumpet of destiny, a signpost pointing to a rare window in time. Not a threat, but a promise. Not a chase, but a recognition. This moment will not return in the same form, for divine timing is like a comet that streaks once through the night sky. Those who lift their gaze see the wonder, those who look away miss its brilliance. The current of supply is moving now, swift and sure, as if heaven itself has arranged this hour with your name engraved upon it. There is no struggle in divine provision, only recognition, alignment, and receipt. Divine timing is the thread woven through every great unfolding in life. It is not a matter of human schedules, not bound by clocks or calendars, but by the precise rhythm of universal law. It moves in silence, unseen yet exact, as if an invisible conductor orchestrates every note of the symphony of your destiny. When divine timing opens rare doors of abundance, it does so not with noise or struggle, but with effortless grace. Many try to force their desires into being through strain, but true manifestation is never born of striving. It is born of alignment. The door opens not because you push, but because the hour has come. There are moments in life when opportunities seem to appear from nowhere, when the impossible bends toward you, when the long-awaited answer arrives without fanfare. These moments are not random. They are the fruit of divine timing ripening on the branch. Every seed has a season to bloom. The tree does not worry about when spring will arrive. It simply trusts the order of the universe. In the same way, when abundance is destined to find you, it arrives exactly when you are ready to receive it, neither a moment too early nor a second too late. Rare doors of abundance do not remain open forever. They are unique alignments, windows through which the river of supply flows at its fullest strength. This is why discernment matters. The soul attuned to the higher rhythm recognizes the opening not with panic, but with quiet certainty. It does not hesitate when the current of divine provision moves. It steps through without doubt because it knows this is the hour prepared long ago. Divine timing is never concerned with appearances. Even when everything in the outer world seems unmoving, the unseen is arranging itself behind the curtain. What appears to be delay is often divine precision, The human mind grows restless when doors do not open on command. But the universe is not moved by impatience, it responds to alignment. Like a master clockmaker, it sets every gear in perfect motion, waiting for the moment when your inner state matches the frequency of the supply prepared for you. When that moment arrives, what seemed difficult becomes effortless. The right conversation happens, the right door swings wide. The right channel of increase flows toward you without resistance. This opening is rare not because abundance is rare, but because alignment is. Many chase opportunities before their season, pulling at doors that have not yet been appointed to open. When the door remains closed, they declare it impossible, unaware that divine timing is simply waiting for their consciousness to mature to the level of receiving. When the inner soil is ready, the seed sprouts overnight. A door that resisted for years can open in a single breath when the appointed moment arrives. There is no accident in divine order. Everything is timed with exquisite accuracy. The delay of yesterday becomes the blessing of today. The missed opportunity becomes the perfect redirection. Divine timing never loses its way, never forgets a promise, never fails to deliver what is destined. It carries your name like a sealed envelope, traveling across the currents of time. When it reaches you, it does not knock twice in the same way. The moment is unique, dressed in a singular vibration that will not repeat itself in precisely the same pattern. The door of abundance opens softly, sometimes almost silently, which is why it is missed by those whose eyes are fixed only on noise and spectacle. Divine timing rarely announces itself with grand displays. It appears as a nudge, a subtle sign, a feeling in the air that something extraordinary is at hand. Those attuned to their inner guidance recognize this whisper. They feel the pull of right action without struggle. They sense that what once felt hard now feels fluid, as if the path itself has smoothed beneath their feet. In these rare openings, abundance flows not as a trickle, but as a flood. It is as if invisible gates have swung open, releasing provision that had been waiting just beyond the veil. You are not required to chase it. You are only required to recognize it and step into it. Divine timing asks for faith, for trust, for the quiet assurance that the universe keeps perfect appointments. It does not rush, but it is never late. It arrives at the exact second that aligns your readiness with its generosity. Abundance is never truly withheld. It waits, like a river behind a dam, for the precise moment when the gate is lifted, and when that gate lifts, all resistance dissolves. Effort ceases to be heavy, opportunities multiply, paths clear themselves. What seemed locked becomes wide open. This is the essence of divine timing. Not a chase, not a struggle, but a merging of your inner readiness with the outer manifestation of provision. Rare doors of abundance are marked by a distinct stillness before they open. It is the quiet before the shift, the pause before the tide turns. If you are sensitive, you can feel this stillness deep within. It is not uncertainty, it is sacred expectancy. It is the moment when heaven leans close, when everything in creation seems to hold its breath as the appointed hour approaches. Those who trust this rhythm do not grow restless in the waiting. They understand that divine timing is never rushed, and they anchor themselves in calm expectation. This opening is not something that can be forced. It must be recognized. It must be received. It must be honored. To try to pry open the door before its time is like trying to pull a rosebud open with your hands. You may tear the petals, but you cannot make it bloom. Yet when the sun touches it at the appointed hour, it blossoms effortlessly. In the same way, divine timing opens doors of abundance with such ease that it humbles the striving mind. The universe remembers every seed you have sown, every act of faith, every quiet moment when you held on to the unseen promise. Nothing is lost. It gathers these moments like pearls on a string, and when the hour comes, they align to form a pathway of manifestation. Divine timing is the invisible bridge between your intention and its physical expression. It is the master key that unlocks doors no human effort could force open. When rare doors of abundance open, the air itself seems charged with a different quality. There is a quickening, a lifting, a lightness. The impossible bends. The improbable becomes inevitable. Things that once seemed to stand against you suddenly rearrange themselves to support your movement. This is not luck. It is law. It is the rhythm of the universe keeping its promise in its own perfect time. Every individual has moments of such openings appointed to them. Some pass through these doors boldly, while others hesitate and let the moment slip by. The key lies in trust. Trust allows the door to meet you halfway. Doubt closes it. Recognition keeps it open long enough for you to step through. The universe does not play hide and seek with abundance. It simply waits for you to be tuned to the same frequency. When divine timing moves, the door is already prepared. The opportunity is not something you must build in the moment. It has been forming in the unseen for far longer than you realize. Every delay, every detour, every quiet season has been shaping you to be able to hold what is now being delivered. You were not waiting for abundance. Abundance was waiting for your readiness. The rare door does not require explanation. It does not demand understanding. It asks only for response. It stands open, glowing with a quiet certainty that this is the hour. It does not shout, yet its presence is undeniable to the spirit that is listening. This is how divine timing works. Softly but powerfully, silently but with absolute authority, aligning heaven and earth in one appointed breath. Faith dissolves lack and activates supply in ways that defy logic but follow the immutable rhythm of divine law. Lack is not a substance, it is an illusion built upon fear, doubt, and the false belief in separation from the infinite source. When faith enters, the illusion begins to unravel like mist under the morning sun. It is not about acquiring something new from the outside. It is about unveiling what has always been waiting within the invisible storehouse of abundance. Faith is not wishful thinking. It is certainty in what cannot yet be seen. A steady knowing that supply already exists and is moving toward you the moment you align with it. Lack grows in the soil of fear. It feeds on anxiety, scarcity thinking, and the constant scanning of the external world for proof of what the inner eye has not yet claimed. It tightens the heart, narrows the vision, and builds invisible walls between you and the flow of good. Faith does the opposite. It loosens the grip of fear. It expands perception. It softens the inner resistance that holds back the river of supply. Faith is not a desperate plea. It is a calm declaration of truth, that provision is not coming from a distant place but is already here, awaiting recognition. When faith takes root, it becomes a magnet for supply. The unseen responds not to struggle, not to panic, but to unwavering trust. Supply is attracted to certainty. It moves toward clarity like iron filings to a magnet. The moment faith speaks, lack loses its anchor. It cannot stand in the presence of spiritual authority. Faith declares abundance even in the midst of apparent emptiness. It is the candle that refuses to be extinguished by the winds of circumstance. While fear counts the coins in the purse, faith counts the endless riches of the invisible. Every wall of lack is built brick by brick through repeated belief in limitation. Every brick can be dissolved through a single act of unwavering faith. The human mind often says, "I will believe when I see," but faith whispers, "You will see because you have believed." The outer world bends itself around the vibration you hold. When faith becomes the dominant vibration, the outer conditions cannot help but rearrange themselves to match that frequency. Lack does not have the power to resist faith. It only lingers where faith has not been fully claimed. Supply does not sleep. It is not absent. It waits at the door like sunlight outside a closed curtain. The curtain is not reality, it is belief. When faith draws the curtain open, supply pours in effortlessly. People often chase resources as if they were scarce jewels scattered far away. But true faith understands that the source is infinite. It is not about creating supply. It is about allowing it to flow. The more one struggles in fear, the tighter the flow becomes. The more one rests in faith, the wider the channel opens. Faith does not ignore circumstances, it overrides them. It looks directly at what seems like emptiness and sees fullness. It observes what appears to be lack and declares supply. Faith is not naive optimism. It is a spiritual force that rewrites the script of reality. It does not wait for permission, it acts as though abundance is already present, and in doing so it draws it into tangible form. Every great unfolding begins with this invisible shift, an inner acceptance that what is desired is already secured. Lack creates noise. It makes the mind restless, running in circles, whispering stories of not enough. Faith brings silence, a stillness that cannot be shaken. In that stillness, the doors of provision open. Lack says, I must make it happen. Faith says, it is already done. This difference in tone is everything. The moment faith takes the lead, opportunities that once seemed distant begin to draw near. People appear. Paths unfold. Ideas surface. The outer world begins to echo the inner certainty. Supply is intelligent. It does not flow randomly, it follows the current of belief. A fearful mind repels it like oil repels water. A faithful mind welcomes it like soil welcomes rain. Faith is not loud. It does not need to shout to be heard. It moves quietly, but its power is absolute. It stands in the face of seeming impossibility and smiles, because it knows that lack is a temporary shadow. Shadows disappear in the presence of light. Faith is that light. The moment faith dissolves lack, the atmosphere changes. The same situation that once felt heavy suddenly feels full of possibility. The same bank account that seemed small becomes a vessel through which greater supply begins to flow. The outer world reflects not what is true, but what is believed. Faith changes the inner picture, and the outer image follows like a reflection in a mirror. Lack often clings because the human mind builds its identity around it. It believes in the story of not enough. Faith shatters that story without force. It simply replaces it with a greater truth. Lack has no foundation of its own. It borrows strength from the belief of the one who entertains it. When that belief shifts, lack collapses. It cannot stand on its own. Faith is not measured by loud declarations, but by quiet certainty. It is the calm assurance that when the outer world is empty, the inner vault is full. It is not swayed by appearances. It is not discouraged by delays. Faith understands that supply is never late, never lost, and never limited. It walks in the awareness that abundance is a state of being, not a chase. When this awareness becomes real, the invisible becomes visible with astonishing speed. The world may say that resources are scarce, but faith knows that the universe holds infinite storehouses. It does not matter how circumstances appear. Faith does not shrink before numbers. It does not bow to statistics. It does not tremble before locked doors. It simply speaks the language of abundance until the doors respond. The language of faith is power because it aligns with universal law. When fear and faith meet, fear is loud but weak. Faith is quiet but unshakable. It does not fight fear. It simply stands in truth until fear dissolves. And as fear dissolves, the flow of supply is activated. Supply does not require permission to flow. It requires a channel. Faith is that channel. The moment the inner channel is clear, the outer flow begins. Lack tries to convince you that you must earn supply, chase it, beg for it. Faith knows you were born with access to it. It is not about deserving. It is about recognizing. This recognition turns a locked gate into an open door. Faith carries the key, not because it forces the lock, but because it was always meant to fit. There are moments when faith is tested, when the outer world seems to speak only in the language of lack. These are the moments when faith reveals its strength. It does not falter, it deepens. It holds the vision steady when the evidence is thin. It stands guard over the mind, refusing to allow doubt to build new walls. The moment faith holds its ground, the storm passes, and the flow resumes stronger than before. The power of faith does not depend on numbers, status, or circumstance. It depends only on belief. Even the smallest spark of true faith can dissolve mountains of lack. It is not the size of faith that matters, but its purity. When it is free of fear, even a whisper of faith moves unseen forces into motion. Supply is drawn to faith the way rivers are drawn to the sea. It recognizes the vibration of certainty and rushes to meet it. Faith does not chase after resources, it summons them. It does not wander in confusion, it stands in clarity. And as it stands, the universe rearranges itself to deliver what was already destined. The dance between faith and lack is an ancient one, but it always ends the same way. Faith does not need to fight, it simply shines. Lack, having no substance of its own, fades in that light. And as it fades, the flow of supply, which was never gone, becomes visible, tangible, abundant. Prosperity aligns with inner belief, not chance, for chance is a shadow without substance, while belief is the sculptor of reality. The outer world is not a realm of random blessings or unpredictable favors, but a mirror held up to the inner convictions of the soul. Prosperity does not fall upon some and not others by whim or accident. It follows the invisible lines drawn by what one accepts as true within. Every open door, every flow of abundance, every unexpected gift carries the fingerprint of belief. Belief is not a faint hope or passing thought. It is a foundation, a steady frequency that instructs the universe on what to deliver. Chance suggests chaos, but prosperity moves according to law. It is governed by invisible principles as precise as any physical law. Just as gravity does not randomly lift or drop objects, prosperity does not randomly bless or bypass. It aligns with those who believe in its presence, its constancy, and its certainty. When inner belief is anchored, prosperity flows like water finding its level. It does not struggle to find you, it recognizes its own reflection in your conviction. People often look at prosperity as though it were an unpredictable visitor arriving unannounced, blessing one and ignoring another. This illusion comes from looking outward before turning inward. The outer world is only ever an echo. If the belief held within is that prosperity is uncertain, then life will echo uncertainty. If the belief is that prosperity is constant and faithful, then the echo will carry constancy and faithfulness. The universe does not argue, it reflects. It does not invent on your behalf, it mirrors the image you present. Inner belief is the architect of your experience. It lays down the invisible blueprint upon which the structure of your life is built. Prosperity is not constructed by chance meetings or random opportunities. It is summoned and shaped by the architecture of conviction. When you believe with certainty that prosperity is your rightful inheritance, the outer world begins to rearrange itself to match that certainty. Doors open not because they are forced, but because belief has already unlocked them long before you arrive. The person who lives by chance looks at the world with a restless gaze, waiting for fortune to smile. But the one who lives by inner belief walks with quiet assurance, knowing fortune is already within. Chance creates hesitation, a sense of waiting for something external to align. Belief creates momentum, a movement born from the knowing that alignment has already occurred in the unseen. When this shift happens, prosperity ceases to be a distant possibility and becomes a living presence. Prosperity cannot dwell where the belief in lack dominates. It does not flow toward a mind that distrusts its own worthiness. It responds to confidence, to unwavering acceptance of abundance as a natural state. This is not arrogance, but harmony with universal law. The river flows where the channel is open. Belief is the channel. Doubt is the dam. Chance plays no part in this equation. Prosperity does not favor some and abandon others. It flows where it is allowed. Inner belief carries a frequency that prosperity recognizes. It is a silent language spoken between the soul and the unseen supply. You do not need to shout your worthiness or plead for blessings. Prosperity is drawn to certainty like light to a flame. When you believe fully, The outer circumstances cannot resist the pull of that vibration. People appear at the right time, opportunities align, paths clear themselves, not because luck has smiled, but because belief has already claimed the outcome. Chance is a fragile foundation. It gives and it takes, leaving the heart unstable. Belief, however, is unshakable. It is the ground beneath your feet, the inner compass pointing to the inevitable flow of good. Those who rely on chance live in cycles of hope and disappointment. Those who stand in belief live in cycles of expansion and unfolding. The difference is not in their external environment, but in the unseen conviction that shapes it. Prosperity does not require elaborate rituals or perfect timing. It requires alignment. It listens to the tone of your inner conversation, the silent agreements you've made with yourself about what is possible and what is not. If that conversation is clouded with doubt, the signal is weak and the flow is hesitant. But when that conversation is clear and steady, prosperity responds with speed and precision. Belief has a quiet strength that does not waver with appearances. When the outer world seems empty, belief does not collapse. It holds the line. It knows that prosperity is not dependent on what the eyes can see. It is rooted in the unseen. Chance would call it luck if a door suddenly opened. Belief calls it law. It recognizes that what is showing up is simply the reflection of what has already been claimed within. When prosperity aligns with belief, timing becomes fluid. What once felt delayed arrives at the perfect hour. What seemed distant draws near effortlessly. Belief does not chase prosperity around corners. It stands still, knowing prosperity must arrive because the law cannot deny its own pattern. Chance may stumble upon good fortune, but belief commands it, not with force, but with unspoken certainty. Many spend their lives hoping prosperity will find them if they are lucky enough, worthy enough, or at the right place at the right time. But prosperity is not a fleeting visitor. It is an ever-present flow, waiting for permission to enter. That permission is granted through inner belief. The moment belief solidifies, prosperity enters without resistance. It is not delayed, for it was never gone. It simply awaited the signal of unwavering acceptance. Inner belief does not need proof before it believes. It believes first, and proof follows. This is where chance fades and law begins. Those who wait for outer signs before believing are like farmers waiting for a harvest without ever planting a seed. Belief plants, prosperity grows, chance wanders, belief builds. Prosperity is loyal to belief. It follows it faithfully, like a river to the sea. It does not question your worth. It responds to your certainty. When belief whispers yes, the universe answers yes. When belief wavers, the flow wavers. The power has always been within, never in the dice roll of chance. This is why two people can stand in the same circumstance and experience entirely different realities. One sees scarcity because their belief is anchored in limitation. The other sees opportunity because their belief is anchored in abundance. The outer conditions are identical, but the outcomes are worlds apart. Prosperity answers to belief, not environment. The language of chance is uncertainty. Maybe it will happen, maybe it won't. The language of belief is absolute. It is already mine. Prosperity hears the second language clearly. It moves towards certainty because certainty aligns with universal law. There is no randomness in this movement. There is only response. Inner belief is a quiet but unbreakable command. It does not demand through desperation, it invites through authority. It is not swayed by statistics, circumstances, or temporary appearances. It stands firm, and prosperity bends to its frequency. When inner belief aligns fully with the idea of prosperity as natural, the struggle dissolves. There is no waiting for the right moment, the right person, the right break. The moment itself becomes right because belief has already said it so. Chance fades into the background like fog burned away by the sun. Prosperity does not arrive as a stranger. It rises from within as something that was always yours. Belief and prosperity are companions walking in step. Where one goes, the other follows. Chance stands outside, uncertain, watching from a distance. But belief opens the door wide, and prosperity enters without hesitation. It is not a game of luck. It is the unfolding of a law too perfect to falter. Those who choose to root their lives in belief rather than chance move differently. They do not chase opportunities, they attract them. They do not fear uncertainty, they command clarity. Prosperity recognizes this posture and responds not as a gift, but as a reflection. It mirrors the inner certainty that called it forth, just as surely as the sun reflects in still water. Prosperity aligns with inner belief, because belief is the signal, the command, the unseen law that shapes every visible outcome. Chance is a whisper in the wind. Belief is the foundation beneath the mountain. The universe listens not to hesitation, but to conviction. It moves not in randomness, but in response to certainty. Recognition is the key to receiving, because what is not recognized cannot be claimed, and what is not claimed remains as potential, hovering just beyond the threshold of manifestation. The universe does not withhold, it offers. It lays its treasures before those who have the eyes to see and the heart to acknowledge. Recognition is not a mere glance of the mind, but a deep inner acknowledgement that abundance is present, available, and already aligned with your path. Many stand in fields of opportunity yet see nothing because their eyes are fixed on lack. They wait for signs while standing in the very sign they seek. Recognition opens the door that has always been there, silently waiting to be noticed. Receiving begins long before anything arrives in the physical world. It begins in the unseen, in the quiet decision to recognize what is already yours in principle. Recognition does not beg. It does not plead. It says, "This is mine by divine law, and I accept it." It transforms invisible supply into visible form by the simple act of awareness. Without recognition, abundance walks past unnoticed, like a messenger whose words fall on closed ears. With recognition, the same abundance becomes real, tangible, undeniable. The world is full of blessings waiting to be claimed, not hidden treasures buried far away, but rivers flowing beside those who walk through life. Recognition is the act of opening your hands and saying yes to what has already been offered. It is not about asking the universe to create something new, but about realizing that the provision is already in motion. Lack is often not the absence of supply, but the absence of recognition. Many believe that receiving is about action alone, but it is first about awareness. The one who recognizes abundance begins to move differently. Their steps are lighter. Their words carry authority. They no longer operate from the energy of waiting. They operate from the energy of possessing. Recognition shifts the vibration of a person from hoping to knowing, from seeking to welcoming. The outer world responds accordingly, because the outer is merely the echo of the inner state. Recognition is like turning on a light in a darkened room. The furniture was always there. The light only makes it visible. Prosperity, opportunities, and divine provision exist in the same way. They do not appear out of nowhere when recognized. They are revealed. Recognition removes the veil of disbelief, allowing the eyes to see clearly. Many have prayed for abundance while standing in its presence, unaware that their own lack of recognition has kept it out of reach. To recognize is to claim, and to claim is to receive. Recognition is not a frantic grasping, but a serene acceptance. It is the deep knowing that there is no shortage, no distant future moment required, no gatekeeper to persuade. It acknowledges that the flow of supply is constant, like air waiting to be breathed. Those who live in a state of recognition walk through life differently. They do not fear missed opportunities because they understand that what is aligned with them cannot pass them by unnoticed when they are fully awake to it. The mind often looks for dramatic signs, but recognition often whispers rather than shouts. It comes in quiet moments of clarity, in subtle nudges, in gentle certainty. It does not depend on external confirmations. It arises from the inner place that knows abundance is not a visitor, but a resident. When this recognition takes root, circumstances rearrange themselves to reflect it. The invisible shifts first. The visible follows like a shadow. Receiving requires space, and recognition creates that space. A clenched hand cannot receive, but an open one can. A mind cluttered with doubt cannot perceive what is standing before it. Recognition clears away the noise, making room for what is already moving toward you. This is why those who practice recognition do not chase opportunities, they allow them. They do not demand, they accept. They do not wait for evidence, they see through the veil of appearances. Recognition is not passive. It is a powerful act of claiming authority over your reality. It declares that abundance is present here and now, not at some distant point. It shifts your inner atmosphere from emptiness to fullness. The more clearly you recognize, the more the universe mirrors that clarity back to you. What once seemed scarce begins to multiply, not because it was created in that moment, but because you finally allowed yourself to see it. The law of recognition operates quietly, yet it governs receiving with precision. Those who walk through life blind to their own worth and their own inheritance may unknowingly step over treasures. Opportunities can present themselves again and again, but until they are recognized, they remain as invisible as air to a closed window. Recognition opens that window, letting the breeze of abundance flow in effortlessly. People often believe that abundance must come from some dramatic, far-off source, but recognition shows that provision often stands beside you in familiar forms. The same conversation, the same resource, the same idea may have been present for years, waiting for you to look at it with new eyes. When recognition occurs, ordinary moments become doorways, and overlooked details become channels of supply. Recognition is a language the universe understands. When you speak it, everything that belongs to you begins to respond. It does not require shouting your desires into the void. It requires quietly affirming what is already true. A person who recognizes does not ask whether abundance exists. They simply open their hands to receive it. They walk into rooms expecting favor, not because they are entitled, but because they understand the law. Recognition strengthens faith. It anchors your belief in the reality of unseen supply. It trains your mind to look for evidence of abundance rather than lack. When the mind looks for lack, it finds it everywhere. When the mind looks for abundance, it discovers it in places it never thought to search. Recognition is a lens, and what you see through that lens determines the shape of your reality. To recognize abundance, you must first allow the noise of fear and doubt to quiet. Doubt blinds. Fear narrows vision. Recognition requires clarity. It is not born from struggle but from stillness. It is the moment when the heart stops questioning whether good is available and begins to accept that it has always been near. Recognition is the silent bridge between desire and manifestation. It is the spark that turns thought into form. Desire alone can remain suspended in possibility for years, but the moment you recognize it as already yours, something shifts. The current begins to flow. Recognition removes the invisible walls built by hesitation, allowing abundance to move freely into your life. Every answered prayer, every door opened, every moment of unexpected provision carries within it an earlier moment of recognition. Even if subtle, it was there, the quiet moment when the soul said yes. Recognition may not always feel dramatic, but it is always powerful. It creates an invisible agreement between you and the flow of life. Abundance is impartial. It flows to those who recognize it. It does not favor one over another. It responds to awareness. If the eyes are closed, it waits. If the eyes are open, it floods in like sunlight through a window. Recognition is the key that turns possibility into experience, that transforms unseen potential into tangible reality. When recognition becomes a daily posture rather than a rare moment, life itself begins to shift. You start to notice opportunities that were always around you. You see connections where once there seemed to be gaps. You sense flow where once there was resistance. Recognition turns waiting into receiving, doubt into assurance, distance into nearness. The act of recognition is simple, yet it carries immeasurable power. It is the quiet yes that the universe hears clearly. It requires no grand gestures, no elaborate rituals. It requires openness, awareness, and acceptance. The treasures of life are not hidden in distant places. They rest in plain sight, awaiting recognition. The universe is a generous giver, but it waits for acknowledgement before it places its gifts into your hands. This moment carries a once-in-a-lifetime vibration, because time itself is not just a sequence of passing hours, but a living rhythm that holds within it rare and powerful alignments. There are certain moments that are unlike any other. They come quietly, often without announcement, carrying a frequency so distinct that it cannot be duplicated. These moments are not accidents. They are appointments made in the invisible, long before the mind became aware of them. To recognize them is to stand at a divine intersection where the seen and the unseen meet. The vibration of such a moment is not loud, but it is undeniable. It hums beneath the surface of ordinary life, waiting for those who are sensitive enough to feel it. A once-in-a-lifetime vibration is not about scarcity, it is about uniqueness. It is a frequency that appears only once in its exact form, carrying a signature that belongs to this precise point in time. Just as no two sunrises are identical, no two divine moments are ever the same. Even if the conditions seem familiar, the energy carried within them is unlike anything that came before or will come again. When such a vibration is present, the air itself feels different. The mind quiets, the heart stirs, and something within whispers that this is not an ordinary hour. Most people rush through their days without pausing long enough to feel these subtle yet powerful shifts. They are so accustomed to the noise of routine that they overlook the quiet frequency of divine timing. But the soul that listens, the one attuned to the rhythm beneath the rhythm, can sense it. It knows when a rare alignment is unfolding. This moment holds doors that were not open yesterday and will not be open tomorrow in the same way. It is not about pressure or urgency. It is about clarity and awareness. When this vibration arrives, everything aligns in a way that defies logic but feels entirely natural. Obstacles that once felt solid seem to soften. Paths that were hidden reveal themselves as though they were waiting for your steps. People appear at just the right time. Opportunities seem to flow without force. This is the signature of a once-in-a-lifetime vibration, not chaos, but elegant orchestration. It is the feeling that something larger than you is at work, weaving threads together in perfect precision. Such moments are not created by human effort alone. They are intersections of readiness and divine orchestration. They carry a power that cannot be replicated because they are built on layers of timing, preparation, and unseen design. Everything you have experienced, every step you have taken, every delay and detour leads to these moments. They are the culmination of unseen forces aligning behind the scenes, waiting for the precise second when everything fits into place. The vibration of a rare moment is not about loud signs or grand gestures. Often it is soft, almost like a breath of wind against your skin. You feel it rather than see it. It is a stillness that carries weight, a quiet that feels full, a sense that the ordinary rules are suspended and that something greater is near. Those who are awake to this frequency know it instantly. They do not need explanations. They simply feel it in their bones. It is in these rare moments that the veil between intention and manifestation becomes thin. The distance between desire and reality shortens. The effort that once felt heavy becomes light, and what once seemed far away feels as if it has always belonged to you. The vibration carries with it an invitation, an unspoken message that this is the hour to step forward, to claim, to align, to receive. It is not a demand, but a gentle opening, a window through which destiny leans close. Many people miss these moments not because they are not present, but because they are not listening. They are waiting for something grand, overlooking the quiet. But the once-in-a-lifetime vibration rarely shouts. It is refined, precise, and elegant. It does not beg for attention, it reveals itself to the one who is ready. Readiness is not about perfection. It is about stillness, awareness, and trust. When the heart is still enough, the vibration becomes unmistakable. In these moments, there is no need for force. The universe does not push, it flows. Resistance fades like mist in the morning sun. This is the natural rhythm of divine alignment. When you stand inside this frequency, everything feels as if it is meeting you halfway. Opportunities do not need to be chased. They arrive with ease. What was once complicated becomes simple, not because the world has changed, but because the vibration has opened the right doors. The once-in-a-lifetime vibration does not mean you will never experience blessings again. It means this particular configuration, this exact combination of elements, will never return in the same way. Just as no moment can be repeated, no vibration can be duplicated. It is unique in its texture, its timing, its resonance. To meet it with awareness is to stand at the edge of a miracle. To overlook it is to let a rare current pass quietly by. It is in these moments that destiny often makes its quietest entrances. Not with the noise of a crowd, but with the whisper of precision. It does not need to announce itself. Its presence is felt like the shift in the air before a storm, subtle, yet absolute. Those who trust their intuition, who follow the quiet pull rather than the loud distractions, recognize these rare openings. They do not hesitate, for they understand the weight of this particular now. This vibration carries its own language. It speaks not to the ears but to the heart. It does not ask questions like when or how. It simply states, "This is the hour." In that space, doubt loses its grip, because the feeling is stronger than any argument the mind can create. It is not about convincing yourself. It is about acknowledging what is already happening beneath the surface of ordinary perception. The once-in-a-lifetime vibration carries a sense of inevitability. It feels like the moment has been waiting for you as much as you have been waiting for it. Everything converges, the past, the present, the hidden preparations. It is the intersection where what you have become meets what has been prepared. It is a mirror, showing you not just what is possible, but what has already been set in motion. When this vibration appears, there is no need to force doors open. They are already ajar. All that is required is recognition and response, a soft yes, a quiet step forward. The moment does not demand loudness, it asks for presence. It is not about doing more, it is about being attuned enough to step into what is already unfolding. The vibration carries a sense of expansion. The air feels lighter, the world seems wider, possibilities stretch beyond their usual boundaries. It is as if time itself pauses for a breath, giving you a chance to align fully with what has been waiting. You sense that if you reach out your hand, the universe will meet you, not because of luck, but because the rhythm is right. There is no formula to summon these moments. They cannot be manufactured. They are not rewards but alignments, arising when inner readiness meets divine orchestration. All you can do is be awake enough to recognize them, quiet enough to hear them, and brave enough to step through them. They are not fleeting tricks of fate but carefully woven threads in the tapestry of your life. Every person encounters these vibrations, though not everyone realizes their presence. Some rush past, wrapped in distraction. Others pause and feel the shift. Those who recognize it often look back later and say, "It was as if everything changed in a single breath," not because something was created from nothing, but because everything finally aligned. This vibration is not loud, but it is powerful. It is subtle, but it reshapes destinies. It carries the weight of invisible preparation, the momentum of what has been building quietly behind the scenes. It is not about chance. It is not about luck. It is the moment when the pattern hidden beneath time reveals itself in perfect clarity, waiting for the soul awake enough to say yes.